Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hi, welcome back to CharismaToAC. We're playing Masks: A New Generation. Now, this is the first episode of our very new series that is still within the Masks RPG system. It is, in fact, the first issue of an entirely new strip. And so we shall head into things, and we shall have a look at all of our new characters, and we will set everything up so we can begin play and know what's up with the new superhero team, and then we'll get into the swing of things. It's gonna be great and glorious. I of course have the good honor and pleasure of being your GM. I'm Daniel. Hello, and I'm joined today by everyone else whom you might know from the previous superhero team, who have shared with me the pleasure of their company tonight. So, hi, Joan.
Hello.
What's up? What's happening?
The usual, which we shan't go into too much detail of here, but I do have to say that in a small sense, I feel kind of responsible for this whole change thing coming about. So if there are listeners out there who really, really, really prefer the old characters, I'm sorry.
Think of it this way. Think of it as your chance to obsess over how that story could turn out.
Yes, true. All the what ifs.
Exactly. So, yeah.
A bit like Elvis, all the music he didn't get to write.
I mean, I don't know that you know this, but Elvis is obviously still alive and preparing a comeback.
No, Daniel. No.
No. Okay.
The world is flat, and no, just no.
Don't start all that. Don't open that kind of worms, please.
on that note, hi AJ, and thanks for joining us on the show. So, yeah, how you been doing?
All right.
Yeah, nothing special happening.
Not something I care to share.
All right. Well, in that case, let's move swiftly on to Brain.
Yo.
Hello.
It's a me.
Yeah, what's happening
It's
in
the
your
same
neck of
me.
the woods?
I don't know. I'm being garbage at card games.
Oh?
Nah.
I mean, I believe in the word of every annoying, preening, internet, infuriating nerdball ever. I believe what you should do about that is get good.
Yeah. I would say I had to believe in the heart of the cards if not for the fact that Yugi is a goddamn cheater that controls for probability.
Yeah, it's not fair. That's you. We all want to be Yugimoto.
I want to say that heart of the card does not exist. There is only cheats.
I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? That all the others are obviously cheating because they're winning.
No.
That's how it works.
No,
right?
no.
That in itself is cheating.
Isn't that the plot of No Game, No Life?
I don't know.
Possibly.
Well, all right. Well, in that case, well, thanks for joining us anyway. And
No.
Rasmus, hi there.
Hello.
Yeah, how you doing?
I think I'm in the same boat as Joan. As in, not anything that should be shared online.
Oh, well, in that case, we will have you keep it to yourself. And last but certainly not least, Dalmet.
Hello.
What's happening in your neck of the woods?
Not a whole lot. Getting back into Warhammer 40k.
Ooh.
After going on a hiatus after the last two awful editions.
Yeah,
What army?
The figurine game?
Yes, the tabletop.
Very nice.
What army?
Yeah, what army? That's Joan asked.
Eldari. So I have a mix of Harlequins, Eldar, and Ynar.
Yeah, you got a craft world scheme?
I do. I follow the Luganov craft world.
I forget what colors those are.
Bright orange and black accents.
That sounds pretty swagger.
It is, and it's a pain in the butt to
I have to say, I just have to say I'm always going to prefer my space communists.
Of course.
Tau for the win.
The greater good.
Yes,
Good.
indeed. The greater good.
Well, all right. So yeah. So let's talk characters. So I think what we'll do is we'll go around the horn and have everyone like introduce their character. Most of you have all characters have basically gone through like the initiating steps of having them created, up to and limited to answering all but one of the background questions. Now the last part of character creation that we want to do here is go through the last background question and the questions that form the team and your relationships, and do the finishing touches on your respective characters before we get into things. So with that in mind, starting at the top, Moira Morgan, aka Constrictor. Why don't you tell us about your character?
What? Me? What? Fuck. I was like, but I'm the transformed. I'm last. Moira, you're what? What?
Well, I'm ranking you. Am I ranking you alphabetically? And you're
I get it.
by
I
your
get
superhero
it.
name.
Should I? What do I start with?
Well, just like give us the skinny on like your character, what playbook you've picked, and
All right.
so on.
The entire backstory shit too.
I mean, yeah, like give us the short version of the answers to your background questions.
Okay.
We don't need to go through everything in excruciating detail, just enough to get the audience familiar with what you're actually playing, and remind the rest of us too. So when we go on to ask the next couple of questions, we have the context.
Okay. Well, we have the transformed, and her hero name is Constrictor, even though she really doesn't like that name. But her real name is Moira.
Yeah,
Who keeps beeping and bopping?
I heard something too. It's like a plopping sound in the background.
It's
the
people
chat.
writing. It's people writing on the chat.
Oh, it's a plopping sound.
Yes.
Have you not have sound on chat before, AJ?
No, it's weird.
Ah, that makes sense because you should be used to it by now.
No, I usually don't have sound.
It's good. That's the right choice. Like
I'm gonna fix it. There. No
Yeah.
more sound. Woohoo!
right choice. I get an aneurysm every time I have to listen to that little bubbling sound.
Anyway, her hero name was Constrictor. Her real name is Moira Morgan. She is a female. At least the top part of her is. And she is half Asian of looks. She has very strange eyes, as in they are bright green with a slit. And her entire lower body has been replaced with a snake.
Right.
She's basically a naga.
That's really cool. Yeah, I was gonna make the centaur comparison, but Naga is definitely more appropriate.
Lame, whatever you call them. She is that. It's grayish scales with a rainbow sheen. Basically, she's been spliced with a rainbow boa, a dark one.
Cool.
And her costume is... it isn't actually a costume, because it's usually the only thing that survives, and that's her sports bra.
Right. Like,
Whatever underwear she's wearing, you know?
It's not a whole lot of point for you, of all people, to hide your identity. Because...
No, everyone will go. It's not like Kent Clark who can just put on a pair of glasses and then suddenly no one recognizes him. She has an entire body as a snake, and it's not even just the length of her legs. Her tail is 7 meters long. There is no fucking way no one would recognize her.
I would have actually had a party with the idea of just putting a pair of like thick-rimmed glasses on your character, and that was your secret identity. But even, but
No.
just because of your playbook choice, that would kind of invalidate the theme here. So let's
Exactly.
not do that. So give us what's your
And
abilities?
if you look at the nice little screen, it's the snake girl on the back that's giving everyone the fuck finger.
Right. So
Because I see you actually put in our characters.
indeed, I did. I
Woohoo.
placed them here in place of the in place of the characters whom I've actually forgotten what was called.
Lol.
But yeah, the cast of the masks core rulebook. Anyway, so so we have a transformed character here. What's your special abilities? Like we see you like you've been spliced with a snake somehow, and that of course makes life very difficult, which is the main theme of your character's playbook. But what are your superhero abilities?
She has inhuman might. Because she's been spliced with a Constrictor boa. And technopathy.
Yeah,
Which she was actually born with before she was changed.
Alright. Did that play like a large role in your life before you were changed, or was it just like
Yeah,
a thing?
she used it for everything. Cheat and test, all that shit.
Of course.
Get what she needed online. She never really thought about it, she just did it.
Sweet. Alright, cool. Yeah. Let's go over like do a quick run through of your of the like the background questions you have, right? Like to help us paint the idea of like what has transpired for your character.
Let me find the playbooks again because I were an idiot and closed it down.
Yeah, like you don't feel like committed to go like all out on the story if you don't want to.
No, that's why I'm finding the backstory questions. Then it will be quicker.
Of course. So
there we go.
The first question was who you were before.
She were this annoying, shallow cheerleader girl, of course from a lot of money, who didn't see past her own nose.
Very nice. And what? So when did you change and what caused it?
She were around 15 when she was napped. And some scientists thought it would be funny to see what would happen if they spliced this teenager with something else. And then she was dumped back into the world.
That's about a year ago, right?
A couple of months ago.
Alright.
Half a year.
Cool. So who outside the team is helping you understand your new body?
And it's a schoolmate from the high school she attends now. Who always looked up to Moira because she was this queen bee cheerleader lady, you know, with the perfect hair and the perfect body and the perfect life.
Yeah.
Like, and now she needs help, so oh my god, I can be help for her.
You were a card-carrying member of the Plastics.
Yes, though she was never plastic. Now she's, I don't know if she's plastic, but she's kind of fake. I'm not sure how.
Alright, and why don't you just try to hide yourself away?
Because she totally doesn't care what other people think. And she's a confident woman that doesn't let it get her down. Though it totally matters and it totally gets her down.
Yeah, the facade is your self-defense.
No, I'm fine. I'm fine, shut up. Shut up, go away.
I don't care what you think. Let me explain to you for a very long time how little I care. Let me...
Yes.
Very good. Alright.
I don't care.
Thank you.
Stop it, stupid.
Cool. Let's take a look. Then I'll move on. We'll return to get all the like last questions ironed out. Entry. Give us a taste of yourself here. What are you about?
You taste like Skittles.
In that case, I'm all for tasting some more.
Oh yeah. Entry is a delinquent whose civilian name is Pollux Sang. He's also half Asian, half Korean, half Canadian, specifically. He is he's a genius whose father was also a genius and a freelance inventor of all sorts of gadgets. Has a ton of patents everywhere. and his mother died shortly before they arrived at the hospital to give birth. So he grew up with a father who was always busy, although he loved him very dearly, and they spent as much time together as they could, and a grandmother who's very gentle and not very good at keeping track of what he's doing.
Very nice.
He's also so he's a skilled hacker and inventor of gadgets.
Yeah, your only superpowers is gadgeteering, right?
Hacking and gadgeteering specifically. And his other superpower he inherited from his mother's side of the family, which is teleportation.
Very nice. Yeah, you wanna run us over the. So I think you've already like kind of touched on it, like by virtue of your general presentation, some of your background questions. But you just want to like run over the basic gist of what has led you here.
Yes. So the first question is, how did you get your powers?
Yep.
And as I said, his mother was from a line of people with lesser superpowers. They were never, they were never the Novas, but they had some powers.
And his kind of thing.
Yes, and his dad was a super genius who invented shit, and Pollux was his apprentice unofficially. What do you do for fun? All sorts of stuff: video games, television, media in general, casually hacking, mostly if to see if I can get in.
Damn millennial.
Trespassing, inventing stuff. Yeah.
Awesome.
Who outside the team thinks better of you than you do? That would be the grandma, Jiming. She's, as I said, she's very old and very gentle, and she has a hard time keeping her grandson in check, but she knows that he could become a great man like his father. And while she rarely scolds, she does possess eyes that can radiate disappointment like tiny supernovas.
That's a very useful talent to acquire as a grandma, I'm sure.
I'm certain.
Why do you try to be a hero then?
As Pollux sees it, he's very much a fan of the alignment scale from Dungeons and Dragons and similar games, where he sees himself as being quite heavy on the chaotic side of things, but definitely good because the evil is evil and good is good, and it's very easily differentiated, and he's clearly good. And good people try to be heroes.
Right. It's the what else am I supposed to do?
I mean, the alternative is going out there and killing people or getting stuff, and he's already pretty rich from his dad, and killing is bad, so.
Of course. Alright, very interesting. Recon.
Wait.
Should have been, I want to be a hero because Batman, damn it. You have all the gadgets too.
Daniel, may I suggest you take Recon after Vanguard?
You know what, I think that's a reasonable proposition. Let's go with Trespass first, and then we'll take Vanguard and Recon.
Right. So once more into the breach, dear friends. What exactly did we want to know?
Oh, just like your playbook, the hot take on your character and their powers and how they got here.
Trespass is a so-called reformed, which specifically means that she used to be one of the bad guys and then saw the error of her ways. We'll get to that. Her civilian name, if you would, is Yun. Her full name is An Yun, of course, being Asian as she is. Her family name comes first. Family name in this case being An. She's Korean, not partly Korean or anything of the sort. She is fully Korean. She's 16 years old, so still high school age. And she is She's small, about 160 centimeters in height. She's very, very athletic. Definitely someone who has dedicated her life to, well, to being about as physically fit as you can possibly get at that age. And well, what else? What else? She's a sophomore in high school at this point. Formally, before she realized that she was basically doing the wrong thing, she belonged to an organization known as ROS, or Pijangmi, which is an assassination and espionage clan based in South Korea. And when we're looking at powers, she doesn't have any superpowers per se. She's one of them are kinds of heroes, but her fighting skills are absolutely mind-boggling. She has a very high level of expertise in ninjutsu, kyokushin, karate, Wing Chun, Jeet Kune Do, Taekwondo, Hapkido, Shaolin, several other styles that she at least knows some of. So she can kill you in 160 ways using only her pinky. And she doesn't kill people anymore, so there you go. In fact, she never got around to that, which is good, because that would make her kind of irredeemable.
Well, at least it also gives us the funny option of putting a potential first time in front of you.
Yes, that's possible, of course. She's also capable of using pretty much any martial arts weapon, Asian martial arts weapon out there that you can think of. She's able to use it. She usually prefers a pair of Chinese hook blades. If you want to show the audience what those look like, there is a link on her bio.
I think they can see it. They're on camera right now.
Yeah, exactly. And other than that, obviously she's it's not a power as such in any way, but obviously she's an infiltrator and consequently really pretty good at not being seen and being sneaky.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So we know that you used to be a criminal. You used to be a supervillain, in fact, before you saw the light.
Yes.
But who mentored you in supervillainy?
Her mother did. Her name is Ki, Anki, if you would. And her she is the regional leader of the Blood Rose in Incheon, which is where Yun is from originally.
All right. Who showed you that you could do good then?
Captain Korea, and again there is a link. So I actually found a picture of Captain Korea on the internet, believe it or not. Yun was placed deliberately in a sort of it was a phony, dangerous situation where she had to play the damsel in distress just to see how stupid heroes could be, that they would risk everything to save a complete stranger. And that sort of had the opposite effect on her, that this guy is being completely unselfish and people love him for it. That's not uncool.
The validation of like regular people, it's not like lame and boring.
Exactly.
Cool.
And her goal as a villain, because obviously she was a villain for several years, was power. Quite simply, power. And it was not for herself, but for the organization that she belonged to, the Blood Rose. Again, this is a matter of the greater their reach, the more political and financial and influence or power that they have, power in any field of life, really. The more they can control the world around them to their own ends.
It's the comic book antagonist version of Nietzsche's master mentality.
Yes, absolutely.
Very cool. What caused you then to switch sides? I think we've already dipped our toe in this, but let's
yes.
go on.
Well, fate, really. She was sent on a mission where she was meant to do a very specific thing, and absolutely everything went wrong. It was in part because of her, but not fully. And she made a choice while on this mission, which afterwards led to such heartache for herself and to her being so contrite that she realized she could not continue down the path that she had started on, and she chose to leave that life behind her. Her current uniform, for example, is the reverse of the color scheme that the Blood Rose used. So she put it behind her.
All right. Very cool.
And I think the last one is, why do you care about the team?
We'll get into that. Don't worry.
Yeah.
We'll get like everyone's take, because the reason we actually have this presentation of people's characters is to give perspective when answering that question, right?
Of course. It should probably be said that in terms of powers, there was one that I forgot, which you yourself pointed out as being quite important when we, when we actually sat and created that part of the character, and that is, of course, that as opposed to quite a lot of heroes, she's got several years of experience already. She's been out there and doing things that were incredibly dangerous for years, and therefore has more experience than most.
Yeah, you have like a different like type of exposure to this world.
Of course.
Yeah, totally. So moving on to Vanguard. Vanguard, why don't you give us the take?
Right, so Vanguard is actually still Aaron Fisher, formerly Nightshade. And
you're falling out a bit.
Is that better?
It is not. Let's do the thing, because so we learned that Discord sometimes like benefits from just switching rooms. So let's just go into another room and see if that sorts everything out. All right, why don't we try this again?
I want to be behind.
Hello. That actually did sound a lot better.
Okay, so it sounds better.
Yes, it does.
Oh yeah, a lot.
Loud and clear.
Cool. Okay, so Vanguard is actually Fisher, who is from Nightshade. After the old team left, Daniel, I think, said he would get into that. Mordred came along and actually stole Nightshade's powers. So now Aaron Fisher has become a beacon. Even though he doesn't have powers, he's still going to fight the good fight.
Very good. So what's your abilities as a beacon?
He still has his martial training that he got from his father, and he now has taken up the bow and arrow.
So cool. Trick arrows, basically.
Trick arrows, yes.
Yes, he's sort of a Hawkeye kind of deal in that regard.
Yep.
Solid. All right. Cool. So what? Let's talk. So like it's obvious in this. Like if you're watching this, you will already have heard me yammer on about this. But so the way we're touching on this is like just like a hot reset, like in terms of the game's mechanics, because that's what's fun here. So with that in mind, let's answer some of your background questions.
Mm-hmm.
For our beloved beacon. So how did you get these skills when you lost your powers before?
So he trains with his father and also Finn's mother, Paula.
Yeah, there's been some kind of like rigorous thing going on there.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. And when did you return as a new superhero? When did you re-enter the scene?
Right before his senior year. So it's been almost a year since he's not done any superheroing.
All right, cool. So it's like a very recent thing. Like it's maybe like a month or 2 or 3 since you re-entered. Cool. Yeah. Who outside of the team thinks you shouldn't be a superhero?
My mother. She was very pleased when I lost my powers, but when I started doing it again, she was furious.
Yeah, I can see that. We We learned something about Martha in the last series. She's not stoked about your superheroing at all.
No, not at all.
So why do you try to be a hero?
Because it's become ingrained in him. He doesn't see himself doing anything else.
Yeah. Is there like if you, in your own words, right, like is there like a thing about it that appeals to him more than like anything else? Is it that he cannot see someone in trouble without having to do something about it? Like what is, if in your opinion, the thing that like that makes it so that he cannot not be a hero?
Right, it is. It's like if he sees someone who needs help, he feels the inclination to help.
All right. Cool. And that brings us to our last character, Recon. Hello.
You may ask questions. I allow. Yeah. Recon is actually another character that was transplanted from a previous previous storyline. It's Finn that he lost after cutting cutting his ties or being expelled from Vigil. He joined forces with the the only friend he had left after he was abandoned by the rest. And so basically after he hitting hard reset on character, I decided to play a joint playbook, which is a playbook from the Halcyon City Herald expansion.
That's correct.
And the playbook is basically about being tied to other character. It's very reliant on other. It's very like weirdly symbiotic with the other character.
Yeah, it's the Wonder Twins playbook.
So basically, I'm my character. The Recon is, or Finn is it's a joint character, and his the character he's joined with is Nightshade, his former and current teammate.
Right. So the superhero formerly known as Nightshade, presently known as Vanguard.
Indeed.
All right. And tell us about your kit, right? Like what does that mean for you?
Well, that does mean that he lost his fancy weapons, fancy armor. He's still swole. He's still beautiful. They cannot take this away from him. But he is same as Vanguard. He's going vanilla with where Vanguard is equipped with bow and arrows. So he then Recon is equipped with crossbow and a variety of arrows, smaller crossbows in places.
Nice. Yeah. So how did you become connected with Vanguard?
That was after the dissolution of the Defenders, when he felt that the rest just left. Even though he got some explanation for it, but then he he still feels like, well, that the team just dissolved, and like he was like his like most of his chosen family abandoned him, so he just clinged to the last remaining.
Yeah, the girls broke up with us.
Yes. Girl smell.
All right.
That's because they realized that no one could tear Finn and Aaron apart anyway.
The fandom wouldn't let us.
No one could get between the boys, so they left them.
And we've already touched on who you had to give up because of this connection, right? Like you left Vigil.
Yes.
Your legacy.
Yeah, he left Vigil. He left a legacy. It's still murky if he was expelled or he just tossed this aside.
All right.
But yeah, after like he left probably a lot of unfinished business within Vigil. Okay.
Very nice. So apart from your powers, what keeps you together?
Well, the bond that he developed with the superhero formerly known as Nightshade. The bond that he developed with Aaron of Vanguard. Yeah, it's somewhere between like best. It's like weird middle of that weird triangle of being like brothers, best friends, and attracted to each other. It's somewhere in the middle there.
Right.
Between those 3
It's a
points.
bromance.
Yeah, kind of.
Wonderful. So, who outside of the team thinks you'd be better off on your own?
Well, that was a hard choice because Finn didn't have enough things, enough. I didn't have enough ideas to come up with a good person, so we decided on the old favorite of everybody, Susan Ramirez.
Ah, yes.
That just made her personal hobby of flinging feces at Nightshade, and she decided arbitrarily that Recon is the better boy of the two, and he shouldn't hang around with troublemakers and leaving his noble legacy behind.
Of course. She's Team Recon. Oh, that's so good. Yes, let's reintroduce Susan Ramirez, the character who has contributed the most joy to everyone's lives of all NPCs in the former show. Definitely. All right, very cool. So we've now like had the chance to reintroduce everyone, and like so now everyone has a clear image of who everyone is. You, the viewing audience, have had like a little taste of what these new characters are. With that in mind, we will round off the characters, and then as our final thing, we will answer the questions of let me try this again. Let me try words once more. We will now fill out like the remaining questions of the characters there. No more explanation needed. Constrictor. Are you with us, AJ?
No, I just left.
Aha. I can hear you haven't because you're talking to me. I found the flaw in your plan.
No, it's Echo.
Why do you care about the team?
Because they don't fall into the societal norm either. We can be outsiders together. Yay!
Interesting. So, is it that you're more attracted to their superhero personas than you are to them as people?
No, because them as people don't fit into the societal standard either.
I don't know about that. These seems like I guess like I'll totally leave that to you, but just like looking at them, we have like a bunch of like fairly attractive middle of the road teens.
Yes, but they choose not to be a part of the societal standard. They all want to be superheroes.
All right.
I'm with Vanguard. Nonconformists unite.
Indeed. All right. Very cool. So it's about like breaking away from. It's about like showing distance from normativity. Okay. So entry. Why do you care about the team?
I mean, it's pretty cool what they're doing, and makes me look good by comparison, I guess. Sometimes, not when I'm busy, it's good to assist people. Good for the PR and makes my grandmother look more favorably at me.
Oh, your grandma knows what
Or,
you're doing. Yeah, that's right.
or in truth, they're cool people, and I want to be cool too.
Right. Cool. They're cool, and you want to be like them.
Yes, but really, I'm much cooler than them.
Yes, of course.
So basically, you want to be as cool as us, but you don't want us to know that's why you're here.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Oh, that's so good. All right. Trespass. Why do you care about this team?
Sorry. Well, she cares about the team because of righteousness. Someone has to do the right thing. And while she realizes that she might never be truly free of her past, the way she sees it, she would rather be half free than wholly enslaved.
Yeah. I would ask, like, surely one can do righteousness on their own. Many heroes are a solo act.
Yes, but she does not see herself as someone who has that option. She's not a solo player. She's always been part of an organization. She doesn't know how to go alone.
All right, so it's like a born of necessity kind of thing that happens to play into what you want.
Yes, pretty much.
Very interesting. All right. Vanguard. What? Why team? Why team, bro?
Because they remind me of everyone that's not anymore, and I feel that they need me to help them navigate the superhero world.
Interesting.
Senpai, notice me.
So it's a two-pronged thing. It is that
Yep.
you need them for what they bring to your nostalgia, and you hold it to be true that they need you because you have more experience with superheroics.
Yep.
All right, Recon.
Yes.
Pardon.
I'm here.
Why?
Here.
Indeed. Why do you care about the team?
I don't game over.
Oh well, that's a shame. Roll a new character.
Well, he's still not sure about the team, but he's willing to give them the benefit of the doubt, just because the Vanguard seems to trust them and care about them, and he wants to care, but he has already been burned, so he is very, he's trying.
All right, you want to relate to these people more than you're
Yes.
allowing yourself to.
And the main reason is just because because Vanguard seems to be seeing something in them. and he us so far trust his judgment.
All right. Very cool. Bum, 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 bum. So, yeah, I know, the rip-roaring silence of me looking at stuff.
Stuff. Dun
Indeed.
dun dun.
So, Vanguard.
Yes.
When your team first came together, you found signs that this incident was just the start of something bigger. What were the signs?
The signs were that there is a very secret paper trail between a bunch of different people. A lot of bad organizations and people.
Interesting. What bad organizations?
The Blood Rose for one. Deacon Graves. And Graves Enterprises or Industries. I can't remember.
All right. And there was a paper trail involved in that. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Entry.
Sup?
When your team first came together, you totally broke a major rule to win the fight. What rules did you break? Whose rules were they?
The bro code. Bro.
We broke some major rules to win. I'm open for suggestions.
Gravity.
I mean, most of my tech already breaks the rules of physics, so...
What would be a major rule to break?
I mean, the law.
Murder, but I don't think we're gonna go with that
That's
one.
correct. But like that could be legal rules, right? Like imposed on.
You know,
on
I have an idea.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps we were told by Aegis to not do the thing, and we were like, I'm gonna do the thing.
Right. Like stand
Sure.
back, kids, and let the professionals handle it.
And we were fuck the police and did it anyway.
All right. So, yeah, Aegis told you to not do the thing.
What about
totally
also like what if you hack? Because it's like a government funded.
I would love
Organization.
to have hacked Aegis.
Totally.
And I think with Constrictor's help, I'm certain we could totally do it.
Absolutely. you
Oh, that could be hilarious. Send Aegis out on 500 different weird missions, and they realize it's because we were in the system.
Yes.
Right, it's like the classic situation of there's something happening that you're invested in, and so when you need to go and do something about it, in come the big stupid adult government thing and says, stand back, kiddies, we'll take it from here, and just like completely cut you out of what you're trying to do, and so of course you have to break into their thing and find out where to go, so you can go there yourself and like say, fuck you,
Fuck the police. We're gonna send you on a wild goose chase to do this shit.
Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me.
Yes.
Alright, yeah, sure.
So we
hacked
broke-
Aegis.
We hacked Aegis to fuck up with them, yes.
Alright, cool. I'll remember that. So, Moira, a Constrictor, when your team first came together,
Moira. She hates the name Constrictor.
get used to me calling you it.
She
from
will hate you.
Every NPC. We drew the attention and ire from plenty during the fight. One important person in particular now hates and fears us.
Ooh. I'm pondering on being really evil here.
Do it.
Do it.
Yes. We drew the attention on plenty during the fight, and one important person in particular now hates and fears us. And that is Mr. Graves.
Yes.
Okay.
Ooh.
Deacon Graves hates and fears you. Well noted. Okay. I'm into that.
I think I've been playing with Rasmus too much. I like being a masochist.
It's only a masochist if it's, if it happens to you. I'm sadistic because I let it happen to my characters.
Yeah, it kind of hits all of our characters, so I might be very sadistic.
The fun of
what the
RPGs is to
characters-
throw your character into the fire and see how quickly you can beat it out.
Yes.
So,
Here, character. Stamp this shit out.
Exactly. Recon, when your team first came together, the connection between yours and Vanguard's bond, the connection between your two halves, was threatened by the crises. How? By what?
Well, that would be a nice tie-in. I think since we are already on the Deacon Graves thing, it probably surfaced all the connections and all the things that happened between Finn and Deacon Graves before, like that he bailed him out of jail and then he offers him the thing, and that Finn give him an information about them raiding the previous base.
Yeah.
About the defenders, and that's probably it all came in something like maybe when they were hacking, they were like stumbled upon like a recordings or something.
Oh, that's so good. So
That's really good.
You've had like not maybe like you tell me, right, but it could be like more than just what we saw on the last show, right? There could have been like a non-zero amount of off-screen interactions.
Like back alley meetings and phone calls and shit like that.
So good. Yeah, of course. Because like Graves frames himself as a person who like wants to help, right? And more like very often his ideas do seem to bring benefit. It's just always tied up in the fucking like devilish like the devilish spider web of like, but it benefits me more and causes trouble down the line. So yeah, totally. Cool. Last but not least, Trespass.
Yes.
When your team came together, you fought a terrible enemy from your old life. Who was it? What did they take from you?
I would say that it was probably let's just keep up with the whole Deacon Graves thing here and say that when we came together, it was a matter of Trespass having fallen into the hands of a couple of operatives from her from the organization she used to belong to, from the Blood Rose, with the help of Deacon Graves, and the others probably surprised the man in the middle of the handover and set her free.
Oh.
And what they took from her specifically is they took her mother from her. She doesn't have any contact with her family anymore, and that pains her a great deal.
Right. Just to clarify here, when you say they took your mother away, are we talking like figuratively here that they are the reason, or are we talking?
No, they are the reason. The fact that she actively fought against the Blood Rose, that it's not just that she walked away from it, but she actively fought members of the organization that she up until that point belonged to, means that she has been disowned. She's got nothing to do with them anymore. Her mother would probably not even acknowledge her as her daughter anymore.
right? Like she's cut you off.
Yeah, completely.
Right. No more.
I'm an
family
enemy
for you.
now. Yeah, I'm an enemy now. I'm not family.
All right, they took away your mother.
You have-
Parentheses, your family.
You have dishonored them.
Yes.
They now hate you.
Yes.
You're dead to them.
Yes.
I feel
Well,
like
I'm not quite dead, but they wish I was.
I
They're
feel
gonna
like
dead
this,
you.
this thing, like your first team thing that you did, in some way, like was probably like had touched on the background crises that kind of happened as a result of the fiction in the first show, the civil war in Radia. Was like I can totally see like the Blood Rose being involved in like a coup down there
yes.
and like doing like major power plays on an international stage, and Deacon
Hell
Graves
yes.
was the one who provoked the conflict entirely to sell arms to both sides, right?
Yeah, yeah,
so-
that makes sense. So, they work together because they both stand to gain by it.
Definitely, and then a spanner was thrown in the works. A couple of like upstart heroes, air quotes, that no one had heard of before. What even are these people? Just like enter stage left and throw a spanner in the works of major international villain groups and
Yes.
fuck with some very carefully laid and very expensive plans. Good stuff. I'm into it. So let me just get a note here. Solid. All right. With that in mind, we'll iron out the last details and then we're ready to play. And, well, we'll iron out the last details, we'll take a break, and then we're ready to play. So, Constrictor.
Yeah.
Yes. Your relationships. Let's talk about those. So, you have two relationships to someone, probably here in the group. And that is Blank comforted you when you were at your lowest.
And someone knew me before I changed. Gosh.
So who are these people?
You want me to name them too?
Yeah.
Why
yeah.
didn't you say so? I thought you was just being, you
Oh,
have
no,
this.
I'm not-
yes,
I'm not-
yes, I do.
I'm not reading your relationships.
What about
to you.
it?
I want you to answer who on this team like fills these slots. If
That was
if
probably also very obvious to everyone else, but I was like, hey, duh.
That's fine. Like let's be honest. It's been a long time since we made characters. The other show continued for quite a while, so.
All right. Well, Trespass comforted me when I were at my lowest.
All right.
An entry knew me before I changed.
Cool.
Did you guys like go to the same private school?
Well,
Yep.
Entry and Moira were at the same private school, and they are also neighbors, so they've known each other since they were little babies.
Of course. All right. Cool.
bad.
And Entry probably attends the same high school Moira is supposed to attend now.
Yeah,
Sure.
you're no longer attending that prestigious academy, right? Because
No, they didn't want me because I look weird.
yeah, definitely.
It was not good. The image of the school, and there were some of the other students' parents that were a little conflicted with having Moira here after the whole media circus. You understand, right?
It is not that we don't believe that you have the right to an education and being treated as a person. It is that we're a privately owned school and people with an agenda are telling us not to have you here. So, I'm sorry, you'll be reduced to less than a person because we'll get money. Yep.
Ugh. Just ugh. But yes.
Can the school please be Blackwell Academy?
Oh no!
What is Blackwell Academy?
Life is strange.
Oh,
I hate everything about that institution. It is. I'm very. I'll be very okay with calling it Blackwell Academy just to tip my hat in the direction of the most awful
Yes.
institution.
it was Blackwell Academy
Sure. So
in the posh area of the city.
totally. So Entry, your relationships. Could you fill those out for us and tell us what they are?
Yes, of course. First and foremost, I keep trying to impress someone with my antics, and I think I'll have that be Trespass.
Okay.
And me and someone pulled an awesome, if illegal, stunt together. I think Moira would be the most obvious person for that, especially since our powers complement each other. If she would be up for that.
So basically, not only did we hack Aegis, but we did something else very illegal.
Yeah, or this could be that thing, right? This could be your tag teaming an international security agency's firewall.
Oh, what was the other group called?
Oh, the other there was Aegis, of course. There was Deacon Graves and his.
No, not him. The other superhero group thingy that had a huge ass tower.
Oh,
the Exemplars.
The Exemplars, yeah.
Yes, we fucked with them too.
Badly.
Sure.
Yes.
I mean,
take it.
I'm up for anything as long as it's challenging.
It was.
I think it's
And
super
we had
appropriate.
fun.
It's super appropriate for you to keep trying to impress Trespass because it's just such a like I can immediately envision your character, right? Of course you would go to like the villain because you think if you can impress the ex-villain, then
Yes.
that makes you really edgy.
Yes.
Also,
Yes.
she's kind of cute.
Oh, even better.
And love is blind.
poor old
Well,
teenage
she's
on me.
blind, for goodness sake.
That is
but at
why I
least-
say,
yes.
and love is blind.
Wonderful. Okay.
Yes, that's a thing I forgot to mention. She, she can't see.
Oh, yeah.
She's a blind assassin, except, as will become obvious, she's not actually blind. She could pass as blind. Her eyes are dead, but for some reason she can still see.
Yeah.
Anyway,
For some reason
sorry.
that might get explained.
yes.
Speaking of Trespass, Trespass,
Yes.
you have some relationships too.
Yes, I do. And I've earned the trust of, and I really don't want just the three of us to go in a circle here. So that's the kind of pardon the expression circle jerk that's going to split the group in two from the beginning.
Sure.
So I'm going to say that she's earned the trust of Vanguard, probably in that initial situation where she was being handed over, and the moment they jumped in to help, she fought like a beast against these bad guys, and it was no holds barred. She did not try to hold back or anything.
All right. What about your other relationship?
The other one is that I did something terrible to Entry once, and I hope they can forgive me one day.
Cool. All right.
Don't tell me you murdered his mummy.
Vanguard.
So my relationships are Blank is awesome, and you take every chance you get to hang out with them. I think it's obvious that has to be Recon.
That makes sense, yeah.
Yep. I also have you've got to prove yourself to Blank before you feel like a real hero, and I put Trespass. Because if I can't prove I'm a real hero to a reformed villain, then what kind of a hero am I?
All right. Solid. And Recon, if you please.
I was actually. So first one is when you have problems with your other half, you talk to. I think it might be. To whom he would be talking? To. Ugh.
Yes.
Mm, mm, mm.
Why are you so quiet?
He's pondering very intensely.
Yes.
He's pondering.
I mean, remember you can change those later on, I think, can't you?
Yep.
No.
Oh, okay.
Pondering intensive.
I mean, so you don't have to. You don't have to
Pondering,
play to
intensifying.
them, but they're like set from the start, right? So we,
Oh, yeah.
so it informs us in the beginning.
I think you would talk to.
I am always good for smacking someone.
Talking shit.
What?
Exactly.
Talking shit about somebody.
Why are we talking shit of someone?
Oh, because that's the relationship question that
Because I'm a bad boy.
Recon has.
Oh.
Yeah. So when you have problems with your other half, you talk. I think he talks to Entry.
All right. And what about when you're? Whose relationship are you jealous of?
Well, it's clear he's getting in with the wrong crowd. He's trying his best to impress Trespass, and it's like man, you're better than this.
All right.
Don't pay attention to Trespass. You have to pay attention to me.
You're more jealous. You're jealous of the relationship between Trespass and Vanguard. Okay. Cool. Awesome. Constrictor.
Yes.
Your influence section. You have a choice to make.
You try not to care what other people think. Even if you can't shut everyone out, give influence to one teammate. Vanguard,
Yeah.
because he the leader.
All right.
And even though I try not to say, I don't care what the fuck you're saying, but she totally cares what he's saying.
Okay. Entry.
Yes, you care way more than you let on. Give three teammates influence over you.
Oh shit.
Yep. I think I'll give influence to Vanguard, Trespass, and Recon because, as was not mentioned earlier, Moira and Entry had a bit of a falling out at some point in their life.
Okay.
A bit and a bit?
Okay.
That's understating it.
Yes, it is.
So, Trespass. What about your influence?
Yeah, it says here, do you talk openly about your days as a villain? If so, give each team member influence over you. If not, just give influence to the one teammate whose example you most closely follow. She's sufficiently ashamed, and she really is ashamed, that it's not something she talks about to people in general.
All right.
I mean, obviously, it might be possible for them to pierce the mask and get to know more as the time goes on. I'm not saying that. But initially, it's going to be Vanguard who's got influence over.
Cool.
All the influence.
Yeah, every piece of influence. Vanguard, your influence.
You are so excited to be here. Give influence over you to 3 of your teammates. So,
Oh, sorry again.
Yep. It's going to be Recon, Trespass, and I think Moira.
Awesome. So you have influence over, you have influence over Vanguard. Recon.
Yeah. Okay. So. So, are you more or less trusting than your other half? If more trusting, give out one more influence than they did. If less, give them one less influence than they did. Yes, he's definitely less trusting than Vanguard.
All right.
And so, how many influence did Vanguard give out?
I gave out 3.
3, so I will give out 2. So mine will go to entry and
Yay!
to probably to trespass.
Yeah, of course you would care.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then if you didn't get influence over your other half, then take it now. And if you didn't give influence to your other half, then give it now. Vanguard.
All right, so you have influence over each other.
Yes.
Very
That
nice.
does make sense. They've known each
Yes.
other, and yeah, the whole
Definitely.
symbiotic relationship thing.
All right, the very last thing we need to fill out before we'll take that break is the beacon. You need to tell us your drives, and the reformed. You need to tell us about your relationships. Not those relationships, but your past relationships. So, beacon, what are your drives?
So the 4 I have are lead the team successfully in battle,
Yeah.
reject someone who tells you you shouldn't be here,
All right.
stop a fight with calm words, and help a teammate when they most need.
All right. Cool. I believe that Recon, you also get drives because you're bonded to a beacon, right?
Yeah. So because I'm taking also drives and yeah. So basically, how the drives work with the joined is whenever we basically mark the drives simultaneous. I think is we both mark. No. When Vanguard achieves his drive, I'll mark it off as well. And then I have my own. And I have 4 of my own drives, which are get drunk or high with a teammate, help a teammate when they most need you, tell someone your true feelings about them, and kiss someone dangerous.
I have to say, getting high or drunk with a teammate in a group with a delinquent is probably not going to be that difficult.
Right.
Power gaming the system.
I mean, if you just get into an argument with Vanguard and need to let off steam, you know where to go.
Yeah, that's what you do.
Yeah.
All right, and last but not least, Trespass. You
Yes.
have friends in low places.
Oh, I do indeed. I have a friend in low places, a crime boss known as Mr. Kane. Kane with a C, because well, he always carries a cane, a walking stick. He helped Trespass when she walked away from her old life, getting her set up with, getting everything arranged so that she had a life, some pocket money, a school to attend, and so on. And all he asked in return is that, when he comes calling, that she's not going to say no. The next one is a man known simply as the Armorer. The Armorer is, again, attached to the underworld, the criminal underbelly of Halcyon City. He provides weapons, as the name sort of suggests, to the bad guys, and he made sure that she had a complete set of martial arts weapons that she needs, and then he's still there and can still supply her with replacements or new stuff if she needs. Again, just if she comes and asks for help, then please don't say no. And last but not least, there is Dr. Cutler, who is the surgeon to the supervillains, and who helped patch her up, and patching her up after that situation where things went so awfully, horribly wrong. And he might also come and ask for a favor at some point, and then, please don't say no.
All right. So I think I caught the specialty of Mr. Kane is you're angling for materials, For armorer, you're angling for weapons.
Actually, with Mr. Kane, it's not so much materials, if she could, but it's more a matter of such things as somebody is looking for me. I need to not be found. Could you throw them off my scent?
That sounds like insider info.
Yes, that sort of thing.
All right, and the armorer was weapons.
Yes.
Where do you see? So Dr. Cutler, aside from being a competent surgeon,
Yes.
What do you think their specialty is? Is that also insider info, or is it also one of the
It's
others?
well, and it's surgical help. If she goes down with having been damaged in a fight, she's not a super. She can get hurt. She's as squishy as most people. It's nice to know someone who can put you back together in one piece in a very, very, very short time indeed, because, he doesn't believe in the Hippocratic Oath, so he knows ways of healing people that normal doctors wouldn't, because they haven't had the opportunity to define and develop those methods.
Is that because he's splicing his procedures with alien tech?
That would actually be an okay reason, yes. And not only that, but he also... Dr. Cutler is a genuinely nasty piece of work. He experiments on people.
Of course. We'll get to like the
He's
fifth
the-
session when he rips off his mustache and turns out to be an alien.
He is the Dr. Mengele of the underworld. Yeah,
Yuck.
that kind of horror.
Wonderful. So, Mark, 2 obligations on one villain and 1 obligation on another.
Yes, I have 2 obligation on Mr. Kane, because he really did get her set up with a life.
Mhm.
And the armorer I have 1 obligation to, because that was a lot of weapons. All right, none of them says boom or bang, but it's still a lot of high quality weapons.
Awesome.
Basically, her small student flat where she lives is arranged in such a way that absolutely anything where something can be hidden, if she opens it, or there's a secret bottom in every drawer, there's under the cushions, or under her, inside her couch, everywhere is stuffed full of weapons.
Right. It's like if people touch under your coffee table, there's like a line of shuriken underneath.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure. Okay. So that's all she wrote. So we're done making our characters. We're done setting up the team. We've got like a view on everyone. We know how you relate to each other. We know what baggage you're bringing. Good stuff. So what we'll do now is we will take a short break, and then we'll be right back with another hour of stuff. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.